Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. The game I want to talk about today, the modern release I want to talk about, is Sonic Frontiers. I really love the Sonic franchise, but it is so hit and miss. There are great games and there are some of the worst games in all of gaming history. Looking at you, Sonic 06. But also Sonic Boom. We've got lots of stinkers, but then you've got some of the most brightly shining Sonic games in the entire franchise and look so good in the gaming space, like Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, which is getting a new port with the Shadowed expansion going on. Very excited about that. So Sonic is really just all over the place in terms of quality. But I was really excited about Sonic Frontiers when it first got announced because it looked like a return to form, more like the 3D Sonic Adventure games. It looked like a better version of those with an open world, which makes sense for someone that's going at the speed of sound, going super fast everywhere. Having lots of space to run around in makes a lot of sense. And I finally got my hands on it. I saw lots of reviews. I saw most people saying critics are underrating this game. Audiences really love it, and I think for the most part that is 100% true. Mostly because Sonic fans will take anything that they can get. Sonic Frontiers is by no means a perfect game. Not even a perfect Sonic game. Not a well-polished game in a lot of ways either. But it is a great experience. It's very fun, and it works as a Sonic experience. If you put any other character in this game and had him run around, I feel like this would not come off nearly as well. The biggest complaints I have playing this game is that the open worlds, there's so much popping that happens. It doesn't, the draw distance is pretty terrible, so you'll be running through this giant, gorgeous environment, admittedly gorgeous environment, and then all of a sudden stuff will just pop in out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Or you'll look at something on the map and be like, there's nothing over there, but then when you get close enough, it loads in eventually, which is really annoying when you're trying to find certain things. But honestly, those complaints melt away because of how fun the game is to play. It is actually really a great time to run around as Sonic in these big open worlds. For context, you're playing as Sonic. He goes into this area. He's trying to free his friends who've been trapped in this cyberspace prison. He was able to keep himself out of it because he's Sonic the Hedgehog and he's the protagonist, and he just can do that, I guess. Eggman's also trapped in the cyberspace. He sends this AI companion that he's created out to torment Sonic and to try and get him out of cyberspace and everything. So there's Eggman's plot, but most of the time you are dealing with just beasts on this island, these islands that you explore. Mechanical robots that are not designed by Eggman here. In fact, there's a lot of mystery surrounding what these robots are, especially the Titans that you fight. These monstrous creatures that you have to fell at the end of every area in order to get to the next place. To fight these Titans, you need to assemble all of the Chaos Emeralds, which you can get by completing side quests throughout the island that you're on. You can also do regular levels. So you have the open world that you can explore as Sonic. Then you have actual levels when you beat some of the lower level mechanical bosses. You get enough gears, you can unlock a level that's a more traditional Sonic level. Either a 3D Sonic level or a 2.5D where you're just side-scrolling. Or sometimes a melding of both. These levels are for the most part exceptionally well done. In fact, some of the levels in this game are actually some of my favorite Sonic levels in all of Sonic history. They did a very good job with these. And the open worlds, again, despite the pop-in and some of the issues and some of the issues with momentum and trying to climb things, doesn't always work, but it's still really fun to execute. I think they did as good a job as they were going to do. I think they really need to expand their tools or figure out how to make these environments better, because Sonic Team has never really been able to make the most beautiful game. But I think Sonic Frontiers is the closest that they have come. And like I said, it's very fun to explore. Once you get all the Chaos Emeralds, you can fight the big boss, and then you go to the next area and you do it all over again. There are unique worlds that you go to, and they're very fun. They're very varied as well. You have the typical stuff that you saw in the promotional material. That's the first world that you go to. There's a desert theme. There's several other worlds that you can go to as well. They're really enjoyable to explore. They have lots of secrets to do as well. Sonic Frontiers is a lot like an RPG. You level up Sonic so you can have better speed, better attack, better defense, and rings as well, ring capacity. If you fill up his rings, you get like access to a super fast boost. If you level it up all the way, max it out, you just have access to that boost all the time, whether you have the ring count or not, which is really cool. I like the leveling system. It's a little bit tedious at times. You have to collect these little dudes called Cocos. They're like remnants of this ancient civilization, and you give those to the Coco Elder and you level up. And it's a little tedious at times, but just playing the game normally, you'll probably get enough to level up Sonic all the way to max level by the end of the game. Going for full completion trophy-wise is not that hard either. Again, if you're going for not even full completion on the map, because there are so many side quests you can do, but if you just find all of the memories for like for Tails, Amy, and Knuckles on their respective islands that you have to try and like have communication with them and unlock those side quests as much as possible, you will get the Platinum Trophy at this end of this game pretty easily. So this one is one that I really enjoyed getting. It actually is pretty beefy in terms of how much content there is in just the base game. There's also some DLC, which I do not recommend. I think it's way too hard, especially for how the game controls. It's not the most precise game ever. So the DLC I was not interested in at all. You got to play as Amy and Tails and Knuckles, but they're not fun to control in this big open world. They're not nearly as fun as Sonic is, and the side stuff that you have to do and the final end game content just sucks. So I would not recommend playing that unless you're a diehard. I did not enjoy it, and I really love the Sonic franchise. But the base game is chock full of content. I think I got well over 20 hours in this game, just having a lot of fun. I was just really surprised at how much I wanted to do the stuff in the open world, despite some of it being broken, like I mentioned earlier. It's just that well designed. Honestly, they clearly had limited tools. They're not working with the best kit here, trying to put out this open world Sonic game, but they still made it extremely fun to run around and to explore, and I have to commend them for that. As a Sonic game, this isn't just a good Sonic game, this is a great Sonic game. It's very fun, it has a compelling story for the most part. I think the voice acting is not my favorite. It's one of the weaker parts in my opinion. I don't like the Sonic voice actor for this one. Like lower voice, it just does not work for me. I think the higher voice Sonics from old are much better, but it grows on you over time. I think across the board, it's pretty okay. I'd like to see them improve some of the dialogue options for a next game if they do a Sonic Frontiers 2, but otherwise, this game has a nice story. It's fun to play. The boss fights are either really good or awful. There were a couple boss fights that I just hated with all of my soul. The parry mechanic is not the most intuitive thing, and some of the bosses require the parry mechanic, and it's just really tedious to land it sometimes. But apart from that, some of the bosses are some of the most fun I had in the entire game. So it's really hit and miss in that aspect, which again feels like a Sonic game. Overall, the experience is a really good time. And if you enjoy Sonic games, if you love the series in general and you even play the bad games, this will be a breath of fresh air for you. This feels like a Sonic Adventure 3 in a lot of ways. I think this feels more like what they used to make, and I love that for the franchise. I hope Sonic Frontiers 2 improves on all the things that I had gripes with here, and even goes harder into the Sonic Adventure vibes, because they did a lot of good with this game. And as a Sonic fan, again, this is a fantastic title. If this wasn't a Sonic game, I'd maybe lean toward the silver ranking, but honestly, it's still pretty darn good for how well it moves and how well it plays. As a Sonic game and as a Sonic enjoyer, I'm absolutely going to be giving this game a gold rank, and recommend that you go try it out if you're a Sonic fan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.